Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, right now I would like to explain about qualitative research that I have understanding about it. But before I explanation, you have to subscribe my YouTube channel Lutfi Ayuda until ring notification. Okay, here I want to explain about type of qualitative research. There are several explanations from experts about qualitative research approach. One of which is from Creswell explaining. Five approach is narrative research, phenomenology, grounded theory, ethnography, and the last is case study. And I will try to explain some of my understanding of the qualitative research approach. For the eighth general approach is basic qualitative studies. Basic qualitative interpretive research is also called basic interpretive studies and provide descriptive description target at understanding a particular phenomenon, process, or point of view from the perspective thus involved, and the main purpose of this study is understand the world of or other people experience like this. For example, the basic question asks are how event process and activities are filled by the participant. Usually, researchers use an interview or observation process to complete this research. This interpretive research studies are simpler than other qualitative approach. They are not limited to certain phenomena in case studies. Case studies. What is case studies? Case study, it's explained here that this study emerged from the approach of business law and medicine, like this. This case study focus on unit resulting in rich holistic in deep description. Unit can be individual, group, site, class, police, program, in institutional process, or communication. Example of handling question are what are the characteristics of the entity, phenomenon, person, or setting. This case study usually cover various sources of data collected over time. And case study can answer descriptive question what happened or try explain why something happened by looking at process. This study is particularistic which focus on certain phenomena, situation, or event. Meanwhile, heuristic focus on providing new insights. Unit defined within certain boundaries. What is called limited system for phenomena can be identified in a certain context. If it cannot be explained in such a way, this case study may not be best approach to study. Case study in some ways not just how to phenomena is studied, it's about what choice to examine. The end result of this research is also called a case study, like this. The great advantage of case study is that it can understand the whole case in it totally of the environment, not only individual action but also of their past. And the third is content of document analysis. Content of document analysis are this method applied to writer or visual material for the purpose of identifying certain characteristic of that material. The material is in the form of textbook, newspaper, and other content analysis is widely used in education. Some of the objectives of content analysis in education are the first, to identify best prejudice or propaganda in textbook, and the second is to analyze type of errors in student writing. And the third is to describe prevailing practice. And the fourth is to discover the level of difficulty of material in textbook or other publication. And the last is to discover the relative importance of interest in certain topic. Content analysis can be done within an emerging design framework, or it can be done within a quantitative research framework with the variable determined priori and the number generated to support the researcher for a particular variable. The advantage of this analysis is unobtrusive nature. The presence of an observer does not affect what is being observed and is easy to replicate like this. Four is ethnographic studies. Ethnographic Ethnography is the deep study of behavior that occurs naturally in culture, and behavior with culture referring to the belief, values, concept, practice, and common attitude of a particular group of people. Example of basic questions are discussed in ethnography is what are the cultural pressure and perspective of this group in its natural setting. Usually, observation is meant of collecting primary data as well as interview like this. Ethnographic research has advantage and disadvantage. The main advantage of which is observation of behavior in real life environment. The research methodology step in order ethnographic is point A is selecting an ethnographic project. B is asking ethnographic question. C is collecting ethnographic data. D making an ethnographic record. A analyzing ethnographic data, and the last is writing the ethnographic like this. And the five is grounded theory studies. Grounded theory of studies. Grounded theory has its root in sociology. Its goal in to inductively build a theory about practice of phenomenon using interview like this, and observation as the primary data collection tool. This emphasis on theory distinguished from other qualitative approach. This research approach focus on collecting data about people experience in particular context. The theory is grounded in the data and conceptually dense, that is present many conceptual relationships that are tested as preposition pertaining to a particular context, situation, or experience. Grounded theory move beyond exception to generate or discover a theory that emerges from the data and the provide explanation of process, action, or interaction. And the sixth is historical studies. Historical studies are oriented the past rather than to the present, and thus use different data collection method from those used in other qualitative approach. And then historical research is included in qualitative research because it emphasizes on interpretation, its use of non-numeric data. Historical research is the attempt to establish fact and arrive at conclusion concerning the past. The historian systematically locate, evaluate, and interpret evidence from which people can learn about the past. Based on the evidence gathered, conclusions are drawn regarding the past of the increased knowledge of how and why past event occur and the process by which the past become the present, like this. This is the desired result in increased understanding of the present and more rational base for base for making choice. A. Primary and secondary source. The historian classify is material as primary and secondary source. Primary source are original document, correspondent diaries and report with secondary source. The mind of non-observer come between the event and the use of the record. If a newspaper reporter has been present at school board meeting, the published report is primary source. If the reporter relies on the minute of the meeting on or an interview with a participant to prepare the report, then the published report is secondary source. Common example of secondary source are history book, article, and encyclopedia and review of research, like this. Historians seek to employ primary source whenever possible, like this. And the second is external and internal criticism. Two ideas that have proved useful in evaluating historical source are the concept of external or lower criticism and internal or higher criticism, like this. And the last is about narrative research. Narrative research has its role in different humanities discipline and focus on stories spoken or written told by individual about life. Narrative can be any text or discourse. Narrative research provide account of human experience by collective and analyzing story about life. The stories are account of event and action chronological connected. Narrative research evolved from diverse discipline and in the humanities, like this, such as literature, art, and film, as well as from disciplines such as psychology and sociology, like this. Maybe that all that I can explanation about my understanding about qualitative research. I'm so sorry if there are many mistakes from the first until the end, because I'm just human being. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.